Hello, this is Professor Rex Babish, and this is Week 1 overview for Marketing 200. Hopefully, you already had a chance to watch the Getting Started video. Each week, I will prepare a short video that will help you get ready for the upcoming quiz and/or give you tips on upcoming assignments. Week 1's quiz will focus mostly on Chapter 1 Fundamentals of Marketing from our course text International Marketing Environment Variables. You can see the bulleted list are the topics that will be covered. You can learn more about them in Chapter 1, of course, but you would probably remember many of them from your Level 100 courses. Products and relationships, of course, being the key concepts of marketing. Know and understand the marketing mix, the 4Ps, and how they can be strategically used to more effectively reach our target audience or target market. Marketing environment, what are the environment variables that exist around each target market? Go through that list on the next slide, but also it is explained briefly in Chapter 1 as well. And the marketing plan, the integrated marketing plan, for this course we will use the template you were introduced to in your Level 100 courses, but also the key elements are outlined again in Chapter 1. I'll also include the template for you from your Level 100 courses. Hopefully it looks familiar. And then finally, when we say global marketing, what is it that we're talking about? What is it we're not talking about? Be familiar with those concepts. Another section of the quiz will always deal with the weekly country spotlight. Your country presentations will be assigned so that your classmates may be able to help you a bit through their presentations, but the timing of it is such that you should really be doing the research on each of these areas yourself. I will always give you a question that will be on the quiz, such as the one in the first bullet point will be on Week 1 quiz. Which country has the largest economy in South America, and how is this country similar and different from the other countries in South America? Be prepared to answer that question. And other types of questions would relate to what you see here in the second bullet point. I'm more interested in what you know or able to find out than what you don't know. So what that means to me is that if you research South America through the lens of an industry you're very familiar with or a product you're passionate about, even a company or corporation that you would really like to know more about, that would be something that you would have an opportunity to share what you learned about that. The idea there is to research it using the marketing lens and what are the variables that we're talking about. Those are the ones that are listed in the third bulletin point. What is a physical, political, economic, technological, legal and regulatory, sociocultural, and competitive landscape in that marketing environment? Those are the things that if you're looking at that continent or this area of the world through a lens of a product or a company or even a campaign you thought went well, you could do further research on each of those variables and how it connects to the lens in which you're looking at. You'll hopefully be able to say things that will show me that you looked into it a little more deeply than just listing out some basic facts. I want to see more about what you thought was interesting or insightful about the area in which we're studying each week. One thing I would also like to make you aware of, if I'm sure you are not already, is that many of the sources you will come upon on the internet aren't necessarily updated and/or can sometimes be misleading. For instance, the slide here that says government systems, it says South America is mostly republics with written constitutions, and it has three categories of that: federal system, centralized, and then French and British territorial systems. To assume that any of these countries are very similar would be wrong. Also, you could see to the left under the federal systems category, Venezuela is listed, and as we know, they're going through enormous amounts of political upheaval at the moment. So saying they're similar to Venezuela, Argentina, and Brazil in terms of their written constitution, it might be true in some sense, but it's not actually informative in any way because the marketing environment in those three countries is extremely different. So you really just sometimes have to dig deeper than even a source like this might. So the idea here is to get multiple sources and then reconcile the differences you see and always lean towards the most recent resources as well as being potentially more current and more accurate. Also, for all research, I do think Wikipedia is a great starting place, but you should dig deeper. There are always sources listed on each page, but I do appreciate the way Wikipedia creates knowledge and it's peer reviewed, and they keep their sources out in the open and transparent, as well as any peer review that is not yielding a favor towards a fact and or information that is shared on Wikipedia will almost always get the errant information removed from the page. So that makes it a little more reliable than most sources. Other than that, all the other sources that you come across, you have to be very aware of the bias. Just because a source has bias does not mean you don't want to use it. The idea here is that you become very critical and highly literate about what the bias is, and that'll help you know how to use the source. The acronym here, SOAPstone, may help you in your analysis. The initial S being, are you able to identify who the speaker is? It may be an institution, it may be an individual. What is the occasion for which they have created this source of information? Who is their audience? What is the purpose for the writing? And also, what is the subject of it? Lastly, tone. What is the tone of it? So if you analyze any source from this lens, you will be able to discern for yourself what about it is useful and meaningful. And just because it has a bias doesn't mean you throw it out. It just helps you understand more deeply about the subject you're looking at. Always cite your main sources anytime you do research, and be creative for where you look for research. There's a lot of areas and avenues you can follow that are just as legitimate as any source that may have sort of an international reputation, such as Wikipedia. But I always favor research that looks at multiple perspectives from multiple sources. The reconciling of this is really what helps us gain deeper perspective into things. And also remember, fact versus opinion is still a thing. There is no reason for you to be giving your opinions over and over without supporting it factually and or passing off opinion as fact. So hopefully we collectively, especially in any disciplined profession, will always be able to push back on anybody presenting that really is not able to speak very clearly about their sources and or what is fact versus what is merely opinion. The course calendar is your friend. I know the online courses can sometimes be impersonal, but everything is set up so that if you look at your syllabus on your Canvas site, it should cue you up to be doing the things you need to be doing in a timely manner. But also notice in the syllabus itself is a calendar for you sort of to map out what your strategy might be to any key assignments, large assignments that will be coming up throughout the term. Balancing that out with your other courses and or life is very important to do. Since this is an online course, it's very important that you know there's not too many times where you would be excused for being late or missing an assignment. So in the cases that might happen, please make sure that you know I'm here for you. With any questions you need, any emergencies that come up, please make sure you contact me. Communication is 100% essential, especially if you're thinking you're going to be late or missing an assignment. I need to know ahead of time, not after the fact, what the situation is. So please don't hesitate to contact me. Again, you can get all of my contact information on your course syllabus. But I hope that this helps you sort of have some understanding of what's expected in the upcoming week. And again, if you have any questions, please contact me. Thank you.